Leon gazed at Roswitha blankly, a silent thought running through his mind. My favorite clothes combined with my least favorite creatures. This is really exciting. He appeared immensely satisfied with Roswitha's attire. At that moment, Roswitha felt a glow around her. She looked down to see the dragon mark on her chest emitting a dazzling purple light, a clear expression of her current turbulent mood. Noticing Leon's fixed stare, a blush crept up her face. She turned her head, placing a hand awkwardly near her mouth, and stammered out, "Have you seen enough?" Leon found her shyness deeply amusing. He thought to himself, the more shy she is, the more excited she makes me. With a smooth smile, he replied, "Of course not. Don't we still have things to do?" He quickly moved to a cabinet and opened a drawer, searching for something inside. Roswitha realized the situation was rapidly devolving, yet she felt powerless to stop Leon. A hint of panic surfaced. She frowned slightly and nervously asked, "Is there anything else to do?" Leon pulled out the black teaching whip Roswitha had used on him previously. He walked slowly toward her, lightly tapping the whip against his palm, a silent, ominous reminder. A wicked smile spread across his face as he said, "Malki, please sit down obediently. Let's start the class. Now let me talk about the homework you need to complete tonight." He struck his palm hard with the whip a few more times, signifying that their next activity would be a serious one. Outside the window, the moonlight slipped quietly into Roswitha's room, illuminating the dim space. It seemed to silently guard the secret shared only between Leon and Roswitha. Hearing Leon's words, which eerily mirrored her own from their previous encounter, Roswitha understood. His true intention wasn't just to make her wear the bunny outfit. He had a secondary purpose. This guy is retaliating against me for teaching him last time, she realized. She lifted her head, her expression one of deep dissatisfaction, angry that she hadn't foreseen his scheme. Leon shook the whip, pacing back and forth in front of her as he announced the night's homework. Follow me and recite the Dragon Slayer's 3 honors and 3 shames until you have memorized it. This is a creed that every proud Dragon Slayer is familiar with. Roswitha, doubting the logic of the assignment, slowly raised her right hand. She frowned slightly and challenged him, "Mr. Leon, but I am a dragon, not a Dragon Slayer." She couldn't understand why he would demand such a thing. Leon's expression immediately hardened. He swiftly approached her and gently lifted her chin with the whip, forcing her to look straight into his eyes. "Mind your attitude, Malki," he said with an edge of displeasure. "Whatever I ask you to do, do it obediently. Do you understand?" Roswitha was stung by his arrogance. She shot him a displeased look and gritted her teeth in silent indignation, but she dared not risk a full outburst. Struggling to suppress her inner rage, she looked away and answered softly, "I know, Mr. Leon." Upon receiving her answer, Leon took a few steps back, regaining his distance. With his hands clasped behind him, he resumed his leisurely pacing. He gently shook his teaching whip as he began to outline the creed. The first rule is, proud of being loyal to the Empire, ashamed of colluding with the Dragon Clan. Reluctantly, Roswitha repeated the phrase along with him. Proud of being loyal to the Empire, ashamed of colluding with the Dragon Clan. Perhaps because the content felt so humiliating, her voice began to drop lower and lower. Suddenly, Leon forcefully struck her with the teaching whip. The whip snapped against her thigh with a loud sound. Roswitha tightly closed her eyes, tilting her head back with a moan. Perplexed, she turned to him and demanded, "Why did you hit me?" "I didn't say anything wrong about the content." Leon gently shook the whip, his eyes serious as he pointed out her mistake. "The voice is too low. Read it out loud once again." Roswitha's anger intensified. You! She was furious at his arrogance and unreasonable demands. Her eyes blazed with fury, like a storm ready to break. She gritted her teeth, barely able to suppress the urge to jump up and punch him. Yet, for the sake of her photograph, Roswitha knew she had to endure. She closed her eyes, stifled her sense of shame, and shouted the words, "Proud of being loyal to the Empire, ashamed of colluding with the Dragon Clan." Hearing her voice much louder than before, Leon felt a thrill. He smiled and praised her. "That's great. Keep reading." Roswitha tried to contain her fury, giving Leon a fierce glare. She furrowed her brow and cursed inwardly. "Damn Dragon Slayer. You'd better hope not to be caught by me. I'm going to make you pay tenfold." Under Leon's rigorous education, Roswitha diligently studied the Dragon Slayer's 3 honors and 3 shames, working hard to memorize the creed. Soon, the clock on the wall showed it was 8 o'clock. The sounds of Roswitha reciting and Leon whipping Roswitha gradually ceased. Leon, satisfied with her effort, praised her. "Malke, you're very smart. You are now proficient in reciting the Dragon Slayer's 3 honors and 3 shames." Roswitha was left speechless by his absurd demands. "Thank you for Mr. Leon's praise," she replied with a touch of anger in her tone. Noticing the time, Roswitha quickly formed an idea. She pointed to the clock and asked with a pitiful expression, "Mr. Leon, is it time to end the class now?" She hoped to seize the opportunity to halt his lessons. Leon glanced at the clock and nodded lightly. It's indeed time for class to end." However, Leon did not end the night's course as Roswitha had hoped. He stood in front of her and began to take off his shirt. Roswitha stared blankly, a puzzled expression on her face, confused by his behavior. What she didn't know was that she was about to face an even more intense and thrilling experiential practice class. Leon looked at her and announced the subject of their next lesson. "Next, it's time for a cultural appreciation class.